on the next episode of Forbidden Passion.
And this day, everything will be perfect, huh?
I can't wait to spend the rest of my life together with the man I've always loved.
I can't leave her standing at the altar.
I just asked Bianca for a divorce.
Cannot keep quiet any longer.
But what situation are you talking about?
Has Bianca gone crazy?
Come on, Flavia. You have to stop her.
But this can't be happening.
Bruno, look out!
Next on Corner.
Nice of you to finally turn up. I thought you might have been scared away by the big boys.
You have boxers quitting room every day. Get real, Julia. You have an MBA in business, not magic.
Life happens. It's not like ordering food off a menu.
Not if you play your cards right.
Mama yangu mimi sitaki kuambiwa nimeshinda game sijashinda.
Umeshinda, furahia. Poa.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Mimi ndiye Dr. Chua, alwatu Chua.
Mimi ndiye Dr. Sawasawa.
Mimi ni Dr. Ashraf mwenye hospitali.
Ashraf si lolote.
Wewe daktari, hospitali ni yako kabisa.
I am the boss.
Okay.
That's all. Get passion.
Huyu mwanangu mimi namuona kulegea tu.
Afaa tumpatie chupa moja ya maji.
Maji asikioni.
Hii chupa moja mama kisha tafanya sahali. Lakini kama wengine tutatia lita 20.
Si majanga haya.
Get passion.
Basi.
Next passion.
Yuendesha.
Huwa muzobongo.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Some days I felt upset, angry, lost. They taken me from my safe place and placed me in a home with strangers that, I didn't have any help or anyone to turn to or anything like that.
I didn't know that I could love somebody so much besides my parents. I needed him probably as much or more than he needed me.
You are the reason I live.
Gospel singer Johnny Akpanke's songs have lifted spirits and healed wounded hearts. This famous song was birthed during a dark and desperate time in Johnny's life. Growing up, Johnny had a passion for music. His father, a pastor and missionary, made sure his children were involved in church programs.
Welcome back to Channel 1 Weekend. It's a Saturday where we talk sport, and tonight we'll be speaking about the game that is played by generals and kings. That's what it was known as, but right now everyone plays it from the age of 8 onwards. It keeps your brain sharp, and it's all about the moves. Speaking about chess, and 2 events we're going to be focusing on, and the national team is preparing for that. First is the Africa Youth Championships, takes place in Cameroon in June, and then there is the Chess Olympiad that takes place in Russia in the month of August. And to speak about it, we've got the chair of Chess Kenya, Bernard Wanjala. Welcome, Channel 1.
Thank you,
Yes.
Yeah.
And first, starting off is that today we had qualifiers for those who would like to represent the country at the Africa Youth Championships, took place in Nairobi and Kisumu. Could start from that point with the outcome of the qualifiers.
Yeah, basically, for us to conduct national championship, we normally select players from the grassroots, where we give every child who have the potential to participate, and we get the best. This year we are having 20 regions.
Up from 17.
Yes, from 17. And today we had Kisumu and Nairobi, selecting their best who will represent them in the nationals. And for the first time in Nairobi, we had a turn-up of 600 participants. In Kisumu, we had 470 participants. This tells you the game have grown in a big way.
And what's the gender spread for these 1,000 participants that you had in today's qualifiers?
When you were starting, we had quite a challenge getting the girl child. But today, in fact, last year we had 2 sections which had more women than men for the first time. And this year was not an exception. We had fairly balanced participation, 50-50, I can say.
Now, when it comes to this, you've got 600 participants, and the halls that will be available either public or they're owned by schools, which means that it's restricted areas. So how do you get to engage the players on the board and make sure that the qualifiers are done as per the regulations set out by the Global Federation and what Chess Kenya needs to do?
Basically, unlike other games, the sport is usually organized by the federation. And in liaison with the schools, we strictly observe the conducting a tournament within the school confine. Most of our tournaments, we conduct them in school settings so that we are able to provide the environment that is associated with the education. Chess as a sport is not just like any other sport. It has a lot of educational benefits. And that's why most of the schools which have seen the benefits have embraced it in a big way. So and I can tell you, when KCSE exam came, it was not a disappointment. Our top players were in the green.
Yeah. It's a game of strategy and thought. But there is one aspect about chess that maybe football fans would not, bother. It's a game that is played in silence.
Yes.
And a lot of concentration. Yes. So how are you able to manage that when you've got, the youth who are full of energy within the schools, if it's, for example, a high school?
When there is a tool that can humble a very stubborn child, chess is one of it, because it instills the discipline to think, to consider the consequences before you make any decision. And when you teach them initially, it becomes very hard. But once they learn, even these traits are displayed even the way they do things in their own life. So basically, it brings them down to understand and enjoy it. And the enjoyment is usually that silence.
Yeah. So from these numbers, from the 600, how many do you want for Nairobi? How many do you want for Kisumu?
On average, each region usually have around between, as I have mentioned, 600, but the majority on average is around 400.
I mean, from the qualifiers?
From the qualifiers, anyone who scored half the maximum rounds qualify for the national trials.
So
that means we have around 300 who will be selected from Nairobi.
That is Nairobi itself?
Yes.
Now consider the 20 regions, we are looking at 6,000.
Yes.
Is that the possible thing for the youth
well, usually what happens, even if you select a player, sometimes the school, because of the resources, may scale down the numbers. So we may select 600, but we end up around 2,000. Last year we had a very big successful tournament at Bishop Katimu Ngado, and we had around 1,600 participants. Yeah, from the selection of around 3,000. Yeah, this year we may have more because of the popularity.
So let's talk about the age groups from under 8, under 10, under 12, under 14, under 16, and under 18.
Yeah.
What is the necessary progression for a chess player? For those who start, say, from the age of 5 or 6, by the time 10 years later, where should they be?
Basically, we normally introduce a chess game to a child at the age of 4, but the ideal is usually 5. By the time they reach around 10, they must have acquired the international rating. Usually there is a calculation we normally do using the standard guiding formula, and we assign the rating. So along the way, as they participate, they grow this rating to achieve. The highest player in the world has 2,862 as we speak today. So basically, our measure is how are we able to grow the rating to match the best in the world.
So what's the rating for a 10-year-old? What's the minimum number of points they should have?
Usually start at 1,000 at the start, but depending on the strength of the field that he's playing. But along the way, it grows depending on the number of tournaments he attends. Yeah, so majority of our juniors, you'll get them ranging between 1,100 and 1,500. Though we have those who have ascended to 1,700. These are good progress.
Now, given that this large number of players that you have at these qualifiers, 20 regions each, having about 400. Now, let's do something. Let's look at it from the simple thing. A chess game can last 3 days.
Yeah.
We've seen the grandmasters of those days, Kasparov and Karpov, playing a game on and on and on. How are you able to ensure that you have a game closed, or the number of games that have to be played, if it's 3 a day or 4 a day on that elimination system? How do you control the time and make a fair selection as to who is the winner of a particular game if the checkmate call hasn't been made?
Yeah, basically at this stage of selection, it's just to get those who can be able to compete. But when it comes to national, right now we are only playing 1 day or 2 days just to get the players. But when we go for the nationals, we ensure now we give them humble time. We go for 4 days, 2 games per day. That means in the morning, they are able to play only 1 game for 2 hours. Every player is given 1.5, another one is given 1.5. That's a total of 3 hours. So at the end of the day, we spend 3 hours in 1 game.
And for the under 18s onwards, how much time do you give them?
All of them are given equal time. Because that is the standard measure. You cannot give the other one different time, because that is the standard time even they play at the international level.
So it's 3 hours, ideally.
Yes,
Each player is given 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours.
If the checkmate call is not made, then who wins the game?
There are 2 ways. If your flag falls, it means you didn't utilize your time well, you lose on time.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if the material on the board are in such a way that no one can win, then the game is declared a draw.
All right. Yeah. So what do you mean no one can win? If, say, for example, each person has you have 5 minutes remaining on the clock.
Basically, we normally have chessmen.
Yes.
Chessmen helps to defend the king and also capture the opponent king. If these all chessmen have been removed from the board, they are only remaining the king, then no one can be able to win. Because to win, you must have other chessmen who help to deliver a mate, a checkmate.
A checkmate, yes.
Yes. So basically, if you have a king and I have a king, then it's not possible for you to checkmate the other opponent. So the game is declared a draw.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the national level, for you to pick the team that's going to represent the country in Cameroon, what is the criteria that's going to be used, and how many do you need from the various categories? Under 8, 10, under 12, under 14, under 16, and under 18.
From the standard practice, we have been selecting the national champions. We have 12 categories. Under 8, we have boys and girls. So in each category, we select one who is declared the best in that category at the national level, is declared a national champion. That is the player whom we support to participate in the national level. So we'll have one in each category up to 12. We have introduced what we call maybe affirmative. I can call it affirmative, because initially we have seen most of the players from Nairobi dominating the national championship because of the exposure level. That means it denies most of the kids from other regions an opportunity to represent. So what we have done, even after we have selected the 12, we also go to the regionals and select the best who performs well at the national level. So they are able also to represent the regions that they come from. And we did it for the first time last year, where we sent a contingent of around 36 participants.
What was the outcome by taking the affirmative action from a competitive point?
It has actually improved the level of awareness at the sport and also exposure. Because when they are playing within the country, they may not know what other countries are doing. When they come, they are more serious. Even if you give them a coach, they are able to take the training more seriously. Yeah.
Now, the other one is the Chess Olympiad takes place in Russia. Kenya was at the last Olympiad, took 2 years ago. It was in Georgia.
Yeah.
So, what you've mentioned that there is an ongoing process for selecting the team that's going to represent the country at the Chess Olympiad. 10 players, 5 of each gender. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
What's the process like so far?
Okay, joining the national team at the senior level is one of the toughest process.
The way you started it mentions it.
Yeah. That one you have to be prepared. That's where players even take off from work just to concentrate and prepare. Because that's where every player will want to be. It hosts all the countries, 190 countries meet there. So you meet who is who in this world, in chess sport. At selection point, we normally start with the national championship. We select the 24 best players. They meet for the second phase. They eliminate the 10. We remain with 10. Now, out of 10, we select 5 in each category, ladies and men. Yeah. So by the time we are at the last stage, it's usually bloodshed.
What's the bloodshed?
Bloodshed means you have to do everything to win and to be in the team.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned ranking points earlier.
Yeah.
What's the average ranking point of a national team player in Kenya?
Well, we are
2,800 is for the world number 1.
Yes.
So the Kenya number 1.
Currently, we are doing 2,050, the average. We normally use the top 10. Yeah. Yeah, that puts us at a very, very
disadvantaged position
globally because sometimes you go and you find a team ranked at 25. By the time you start events, you have an inferior. Yeah,
do they get butterflies or they just get onto the board?
Coincidentally, sometimes we end up doing very well because you are unrated. There is a reason why we are rated low. Number one is the level of exposure. Yeah. For you to grow your rating, you have to participate in an international level where it has a good field of rating. Because when you win, you gain. When you lose,
you lose also.
Yeah, they reduce your rating. So basically, if you go to a field that has a stronger rating, when you win, you are given more because of the rating difference. Now, when we are playing amongst ourselves with almost the same rating, even if you gain, you don't gain much. Yeah, and it becomes very difficult to grow. What we are doing, we are trying to have more rating and sending our players to international so that they can grow that rating. It's just a matter of time we will be there because most of the countries which are doing very well, they were there before, where we are in Kenya.
That is Bernard Wanjala. He is the chair of Chess Kenya, telling us about the sport and Kenya's preparations for the 2020 Africa Youth Chess Championships. It's set to take place in Cameroon in June. The hosts will decide the date. That is their prerogative. And also the Chess Olympiad that's going to take place in Russia in August 2020. Thank you very much, Bernard, for being with us tonight. I am Daniel Wahome, and on behalf of my co-anchor, Purity Museo, I want to say, and the team that put together this news bulletin, I want to wish you a good night. Our sign language interpreter has been Lucy Mwaura.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Wiki hii kwenye mkulima tutaangazia aina mbalimbali ya herbs na spices.
Herbs ziko na manufaa zaidi. Hizi ni madawa. Ukitembelea vituo wale ambao wanafanya nutrition watakueleza kwamba hizo herbs ukitumia kuna yale magonjwa kwa mwili ambayo yanatibu.
Kisha tukuze strawberry na cucumber ndani ya greenhouse. Ungana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel 1.
Sweetie